This is the Don't Lose Your Marbles intervention designed by Angela Hausneck, and she's going to show you what the intervention genuinely will look like.
Okay, so let's say you're my client and that there is something that makes you feel anxious. What makes you feel anxious?
I hate public speaking.
You hate public speaking. And what tends to happen when you find yourself in a public speaking situation?
I start to sweat, I shake, and I make myself nauseous because I'm so nervous.
So you sweat and you shake every time you're in a public speaking situation.
Pretty much, yes.
And what kinds of thoughts run through your head? What do you tend to think about when you're in that public speaking situation?
That I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to embarrass myself in front of people, and that people are going to make fun of me.
Okay, so you're going to embarrass yourself, make a mistake, people's going to make fun of you. That sounds pretty terrible. So can you think of a time where you don't feel anxious? A time where you feel very confident?
Like when I'm around friends, when I can talk with friends.
Okay, and what kinds of things do you tell yourself when you're talking to your friends that makes you feel confident?
I know that they're not going to judge me. They wouldn't make fun of me. I'm very comfortable just around them.
Okay, so let's go back to your first scenario when you're talking about how public speaking makes you feel anxious and nauseous and sweaty and a big mess, and just sounds terrible, terrible way to be. So what's going on is there's something going on in your brain that I want to tell you about that maybe help make sense of where all these feelings and thoughts are coming from. So in the center of your brain on either side, there are these two little structures about the size of marbles. And these marbles are deep in your brain, and they're called the amygdala, and they're connected together. Now, the amygdala is the part of your brain that's not very smart. It's evolutionary low on the totem pole. It kind of lives on that whole fight or flight instinct level. It's because, we're all animals, and as animals we want to survive out in nature. So anything that, if we we're a caveman and we come across a bear, and a big scary bear, and we're like, oh no, I'm going to either run from this bear, flight, or I'm going to fight this bear, which probably wouldn't be a good idea in that situation. So the amygdala is what's telling your body to either fight or flight. So when you're up there and you're thinking about public speaking, your amygdala is going, oh no, I'm going to freak out, because that's all it knows. It just knows those two things. Now, the cool thing about your brain is over top the amygdala, over top your two amygdalas, is your emotional brain. And in your emotional brain, that's where all your thoughts come from. And in your case, your thoughts your feelings are coming from. And your feelings are you're going to be embarrassed, that you're going to make a mistake, and those aren't very good feelings. So your fight or flight are going right into those feelings that you're having. And so that's not really a great place for you to dwell in either right now when you're public speaking. But lucky for you, over top of your emotional brain is your thinking brain. Now in your thinking brain, that's where you have all your thoughts. Now you brought up some really good thoughts earlier, and you said when you were talking about speaking with your friends. Can you tell me what those thoughts were, what you're thinking when you're speaking with your friends?
That they weren't going to judge me.
That they weren't going to judge you. Right. So those feelings, those thoughts of they're not going to judge you, controls that emotional brain and keeps that in check, and your emotional brain is keeping those marbles in there nice and tight. So you don't lose your marbles. So once you start going, oh, I'm going to make a mistake, it's going to be terrible and horrible, and oh, I feel embarrassed, oh no, that's when you lose your marbles, right? So the idea is keep those marbles in check first with your emotions, and when your emotions are kind of getting the better of you, that's when you bring in those good positive thoughts to keep those marbles in check.